Welcome to Flash Genius. This is a 10-question SSEP practice test. After each question, you'll have a few seconds to think. Then we'll reveal the answer with an explanation. Let's begin.
Question 1. You are tasked with setting up a secure communication channel between two Linux servers using OpenSSH. To ensure data confidentiality and integrity, which of the following ciphers should you prioritize configuring in your SSH server configuration? Option A, AES256 CBC. Option B, 3DES. Option C, RC4. Option D, DES. Take a moment to think about your answer.
The correct answer is A, AES256 CBC. Here's why. AES256 CBC is a strong encryption standard that provides a high level of security for data confidentiality and integrity. It is widely recommended for secure communications. 3DS, while more secure than DES, is considered outdated and slower. RC4 is vulnerable to several attacks, making it unsuitable for secure communications. DES is insecure due to its short key length. Question 2. During a routine security audit, you discover that a critical server running Linux has been compromised and is being used to host phishing sites. What is the most appropriate immediate action to take in order to mitigate the threat while preserving evidence for further investigation? Option A, disconnect the server from the network to prevent further damage. Option B, shut down the server to stop the phishing activity immediately. Option C, capture a full memory dump and disk image before taking any other action. Option D, install an antivirus solution on the server to remove any malware. Take a moment to think about your answer. The correct answer is A, disconnect the server from the network to prevent further damage. Here's why. The most appropriate immediate action is to disconnect the server from the network, option A, to prevent further damage and stop the phishing activity. This action helps contain the incident while preserving the state of the server for forensic analysis. Shutting down the server, option B, could lead to loss of volatile evidence. Capturing a full memory dump and disk image, option C, is crucial but should be done after containment. Installing antivirus, option D, is not advisable at this stage as it can alter evidence.
Question 3. A firewall rule was recently modified, and users are now reporting issues accessing a critical web application hosted internally. What is the best approach to identify and resolve the issue? Option A, revert the firewall to its previous configuration before the rule change. Option B, review the firewall logs to determine which traffic is being blocked. Option C, disable the firewall temporarily to confirm if it is the source of the issue. Option D, contact application vendor to verify if there are any known issues. Take a moment to think about your answer. The correct answer is B, review the firewall logs to determine which traffic is being blocked. Here's why. Reviewing the firewall logs is the most effective method to identify which traffic is being blocked and verify if the rule change is causing the issue. Reverting the configuration might resolve the problem, but doesn't provide insight into the cause. Disabling the firewall is risky and not recommended. Contacting the vendor is not likely to address the firewall-specific issue. Question 4. A new employee needs access to a secure database on the corporate network. Which of the following represents the best practice for granting access? Option A, grant the employee administrative access to the database. Option B, grant the employee access based on their role and responsibilities. Option C, grant the employee read-only access to all tables in the database. Option D, provide the employee with the credentials of an existing user with similar access needs. Take a moment to think about your answer. The correct answer is B, grant the employee access based on their role and responsibilities. Here's why. Granting access based on role and responsibilities ensures that the principle of least privilege is followed, minimizing the risk of unauthorized access or data exposure. Option A provides excessive access, Option C may provide unnecessary access to data, and Option D is insecure and does not follow best practices for credential management. Question 5. During an incident involving unauthorized access, you discover that multiple user accounts have been compromised. What is the best immediate action to take? Option A, disable the compromised accounts. Option B, change the passwords for the compromised accounts. Option C, notify all users about the breach. Option D, perform a full system audit. Take a moment to think about your answer.
The correct answer is A, disable the compromised accounts. Here's why. Disabling the compromised accounts immediately prevents further unauthorized access. Changing passwords without first disabling accounts might not prevent ongoing access if the attacker is still active. Notifying users is important, but not the immediate priority. A full system audit is necessary, but should follow initial containment actions.
Question 6. A user reports that they are unable to access a secure website using HTTPS. Upon investigation, you find that the website's SSL certificate is not trusted. What is the most appropriate action to resolve this issue? Option A, instruct the user to bypass the warning and proceed to the site. Option B, add an exception in the browser for the untrusted certificate. Option C, update the root certificates on the user system. Option D, contact the website administrator to verify and update the SSL certificate. Take a moment to think about your answer.
The correct answer is D, contact the website administrator to verify and update the SSL certificate. Here's why. Option D is correct because it addresses the root cause by ensuring the website has a valid SSL certificate. Option A and B compromise security, and Option C may not resolve the issue if the certificate itself is invalid.
Question 7. During an incident response, you need to quickly determine which users access to compromised system. The system logs are extensive and unfiltered. Which tool or method should you use first to efficiently identify the relevant log entries? Option A, manually review each log entry for user access. Option B, use a SIEM tool to filter logs based on user access events. Option C, export logs to a spreadsheet for easier analysis. Option D, disable logging to prevent further log entries from complicating the analysis. Take a moment to think about your answer. The correct answer is B. Use a SIEM tool to filter logs based on user access events. Here's why. Option B is correct because using a SIEM tool allows you to efficiently filter and analyze logs for specific events, such as user access, saving time and effort during an incident response. Option A is too time-consuming. Option C may help with analysis, but is not as efficient as using a SIEM. And Option D is counterproductive, as it stops further logging needed for analysis. Question 8. You are monitoring network traffic using a Security Information and Event Management SIEM system and notice a spike in outbound traffic from a server that typically has low network activity. What should be your first step in investigating this anomaly? Option A, immediately disconnect the server from the network to prevent data exfiltration. Option B, analyze the SIEM logs to identify the nature and destination of the outbound traffic. Option C, reboot the server to clear any temporary issues causing the spike. Option D, notify the network administrator to perform a full scan of the server for malware. Take a moment to think about your answer. The correct answer is B. Analyze the SIEM logs to identify the nature and destination of the outbound traffic. Here's why. Option B is correct because analyzing the SIEM logs can provide insights into the nature of the traffic and help determine if it is malicious. Option A is a drastic measure that may not be necessary without further information. Option C is incorrect, as it could disrupt services and potentially destroy evidence. Option D, while useful, should follow the initial analysis to confirm any suspicions. Question 9. You're the security practitioner responsible for managing the SIEM system in your organization. You notice a significant increase in failed login attempts from a single IP address targeting multiple user accounts. What should be your first step in responding to this potential incident? Option A, block the IP address at the firewall to prevent further login attempts. Option B, investigate the source of the IP address and check for any legitimate activity. Option C, alert the affected users to change their passwords immediately. Option D, increase the logging level on the SIEM to capture more detailed information.
Take a moment to think about your answer.
The correct answer is A. Block the IP address at the firewall to prevent further login attempts. Here's why. The first step should be to block the IP address at the firewall, option A, to immediately stop the ongoing attack and prevent further unauthorized access attempts. Investigating the source, option B, is important but should follow containment. Alerting users, option C, is a subsequent step after confirming the threat. Increasing logging, option D, is useful for analysis but does not address the immediate threat. Question 10. You are configuring access controls for a new application server. Which of the following principles should guide your configuration to ensure security? Option A. Grant all users full access to simplify permission management. Option B. Apply the principle of least privilege to limit user access to only what is necessary. Option C. Allow anonymous access to reduce login overhead. Option D. Use default manufacturer settings to ensure compatibility. Take a moment to think about your answer.
The correct answer is B. Apply the principle of least privilege to limit user access to only what is necessary. Here's why. Applying the principle of least privilege ensures that users have only the access necessary to perform their tasks, reducing the risk of unauthorized actions. Granting full access, A, and allowing anonymous access, C, increase security risks, while using default settings, D, can leave the system vulnerable to known exploits. Thanks for practicing with Flash Genius. For unlimited free practice tests, an AI tutor, and a personalized study plan for SSCP, visit flashgenius.net. Good luck on your exam.